Pittsburgh community schools are sounding the alarm on a social media trend that could have long-lasting implications for students. I'm Zach Dodge with the story.
Fencing is back up around the Capitol, and the president's Joint Chiefs chairman has Republicans calling for his ouster. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington with more on this story next.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. A Marionville, Missouri murder suspect is in police custody. The Aurora Marionville Police Department says today they arrested Jamie Lee Godfrey. He's accused of the murder of 50-year-old Jess Davis. Davis was found dead in his Marionville home yesterday. Authorities are not releasing more information about Godfrey's suspected involvement. They thanked community members and law enforcement for, quote, jumping into action to help with this case. The Webb City, Missouri Police Department is investigating an incident that left 2 people shot. It happened early this afternoon. Webb City police say they were called to the 500 block of North Colonial for disturbance. Officers found a man and woman, both suffering from gunshot wounds. The victims were taken to a local hospital with serious injuries. Police believe this was an isolated incident and that there is no threat to the public. Well, one of the suspects in the hit-and-run death of a Pea Ridge, Arkansas police officer has a trial date. This after pleading not guilty to numerous charges connected to the crime. Shawnee Cash is set to appear back in court in December. Cash is one of 2 suspects in the death of Pea Ridge officer Kevin Apple. Police say Cash and her co-defendant hit and killed Apple with their car. Cash is charged with capital murder, escape, fleeing, 2 counts of aggravated assault, leaving the scene of a personal injury accident, criminal mischief, obstructing governmental operations, and reckless driving. Her co-defendant, Elijah Endonzola, has also pled not guilty. Jacob Leonard joining us now with the first look at the forecast. Hot, sunny day today, Jacob.
Yeah, it was pretty clear and pretty sunny, and once again, it was pretty warm, a lot warmer than what we normally see here on September 16th. Taking a look at 7th and Rangeline, pretty clear out there right now. Now today, we did top out at 91 degrees. Like I said, that is much warmer than what we normally see here on September 16th. 82 the average for what we normally see right now. Skywatch Storm Tracker pretty clear, as it has been throughout most of the day. Current temperatures right now, still warm out there for 9 o'clock, 78 in Neosho, 79 in Webb City. We do see a few cooler temperatures in southeast Kansas, 76 in Fort Scott, 74 in Iola. Now, as we work through the rest of the night and into tomorrow, here's what you got to wake up tomorrow. 66 when you're heading to school, 85 by noon. Once again, we will top out near 90. We do have a chance to cool off in the middle of next week. Jordan, we'll talk about that here in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, man. Webb City Fire Department is working to determine the cause of the fire that damaged the Missouri Metal Recyclers building. It happened before 11:30 this morning. Webb City Fire Chief tells us he believes the fire was started by a worker who was welding, but the official cause of the fire has not yet been determined. Crews from Webb City, Oronogo, Joplin, and Duquesne all responded to help put out this fire. A new TikTok challenge has local schools sounding the alarm on something that could have long-lasting implications for students. KOAM Zach Dodge has these details.
I'm sure as kids we all did things that were pretty questionable, even if it was to see if we could get away with it. But now students are getting in on a TikTok trend that could follow them later in life.
Let's turn it into something really destructive now.
The Devious Lick Challenge on TikTok has come to area schools. It's where students vandalize or steal school property and post videos on TikTok for the views.
We have seen some vandalism and small theft in the building.
At Pittsburgh Community Schools, they started seeing that last week across the district. And while they can't say for sure it's because of the challenge, the timing is suspicious and what's going missing is pretty small.
It's more for the act of stealing it for the social media post than trying to get a large item.
And while the things that are being stolen here in Pittsburgh are pretty small, the sheriff says that it is still stealing. So students could be facing 2 separate sets of consequences.
Honestly, it's criminal damage of property. You're going to get consequences from the school, and then potentially you could have criminal charges on a silly challenge.
The district says some students have already returned what they stole, and a letter has been sent to parents encouraging them to talk to their students about vandalism, theft, and peer pressure to try and curb the issue before it gets worse.
And help them understand that social media fads can have real life consequences, but it's not about a punishment, it's about teaching them a lifelong lesson.
TikTok has also taken down videos with the Devious Lick hashtag. In Pittsburgh, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Schools in other parts of the country have reported stolen sinks fire extinguishers, computers, and more. The U.S. Capitol complex is back behind fencing ahead of a rally in support of those who stormed the building back in January. And a top general is under fire for a phone call he made just days after the attack. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard explains from D.C.
Fencing now up around the Capitol, protecting against a repeat of January 6th. This Saturday, there's a planned rally to protest the incarceration of insurrectionists. It comes as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, is being protected by the White House, State Department, and Pentagon from calls for his resignation.
I have confidence in General Milley.
An upcoming book reveals during the last administration, General Milley made calls to the Chinese before the election and just days after the January 6th attack at the Capitol to try to calm Chinese fears of an attack. The book also reports Milley told others he needed to be included in any decision-making if former President Trump were to try to launch a nuclear weapon. The Pentagon says all the calls were done in the open and were not unusual.
Wait until we hear what General Milley and others have to say who were actually the principals involved here.
Many lawmakers say they want to hear from General Milley before they call for his resignation.
These are allegations in a book, and we have to verify. And if they're true, then General Milley is going to have to go.
But for some Republicans, the accusations of going around the former president are enough.
There were multiple members of the administration that thought they knew better than the president. That's a very dangerous thing.
On September 28th, General Milley is scheduled to appear at a hearing on Afghanistan. There, lawmakers have promised to question him on the book's reporting. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
President Biden taking his case to the American people about his economic vision for middle-class Americans. In remarks today, the president laid out why he believes raising taxes on wealthy Americans can help foster more prosperity for the country. But there are still big questions about whether the Democrats are going to be able to pass their massive spending package. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more details from Washington.
This is our moment to prove the American people that their government works for them.
President Biden is drumming up public support for his Build Back Better agenda. But among his own party, cracks are beginning to show in their support for a $3.5 trillion spending package meant to fulfill his domestic agenda.
There are members of our caucus who want it higher than 3.5. There are members of our caucus who want it lower than 3.5.
The latest division playing out in the House Wednesday after 3 moderate Democrats sided with Republicans to drop a provision that would allow Medicare to negotiate drug pricing. Meanwhile, progressives are warning against a smaller bill. However, in an evenly divided Senate and a House where Speaker Nancy Pelosi can only afford to lose 3 votes, too many defections could threaten the package.
We have no time to waste. We have to get this done by the end of the month.
The president is trying to bolster the bill by saying it would be paid for, in part by higher taxes on corporations and wealthy Americans. Some are skeptical.
If you count inflation, that could get worse with $3.5 trillion in new spending. Then everybody is getting hit with taxes.
Some Republicans who supported the infrastructure bill now say they may oppose it if it's ultimately tied to the larger social spending package. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAB News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Gregory Doris served in the U.S. Army from 1966 to 1968. We are proud to thank and salute Specialist 5th Class Gregory Doris, native of Asbury, Missouri. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Jacob Leonard next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, Pittsburgh State Gorillas aiming to bounce back from their first loss of the season this weekend. Going to hear from the team on Saturday's game at Northeastern State in sports.
At Shape Technology, we're stationed 5 times a week starting September 27th.
Well, today was a little hotter than what we saw yesterday and also pretty warm for this time of the year, but overall, pretty clear and pretty nice day for most of us across the area. Taking a look now, time lapse from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. As you can see, pretty clear day outside of a few clouds. Pretty much had pretty blue skies all day long. Right now we've made it down through 80. We're sitting at 79 in Joplin. Wind coming out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour. Humidity 58%. Humidity been not too bad all day long. Now I did say much warmer than what we saw yesterday. You can see some of these 24-hour temperature changes, 4 degrees, 5 degrees. Most of us 5 to 10 degrees warmer than what we saw just 24 hours ago. As for those temperatures right now, most of us still warm, upper 70s. Some of us in Columbus, 80, 81 in Parsons, 79 in Chanute. Over in southwest Missouri, 78. In Carthage, 77. In Lamar, Skywatch Storm Tracker, you can see here the heart of our area. Pretty clear, not a lot going on, and that's been the case for most of the day the last 12 hours. Outside of a few clouds, pretty blue skies all day long. A future track for you as we work through the rest of tonight and into the morning hours tomorrow. When you're getting up and heading to school, most of us, mid-60s, upper 60s, 66 in Joplin, 66 in Nevada. As we work through the rest of the day into the evening hours here, I saw this pop up. I'm going to be out with y'all at high school football tomorrow. I saw this pop up and I thought, oh no, not again. We had some of that a few weeks ago and I didn't like it. But the good news is that's at about 6 o'clock. Most of it will break up. Now we may see some pop-up showers throughout the evening hours, late Friday night, maybe into Saturday morning, but most of it won't be too bad. It's not really anything to worry about. High school football should be good tomorrow. That's good news for me, good news for you. I'll see you out there. Working through the rest of Friday night, into Saturday morning and into Saturday afternoon. Once again, we will warm up quite a bit on Saturday. Most of us may touch 90. It'll be a warm weekend for us on Saturday. Now, here's what we got to look for tomorrow when you get up. 68 degrees. We're going to heat up quickly. 85 by noon. We will once again touch 90. The winds switch around throughout the day, but it is going to be another warm one tomorrow, and that's really going to be the case over the weekend. 90 tomorrow, 90 Saturday, 91 on Sunday. We're going to stay in the 90s on Monday, but good news. Got some rain chances working in on Tuesday. We'll drop us down at highs near 80, and then Wednesday, the first day of fall, you don't need that cool graphic to tell you. You can walk out the door, and it's going to feel like fall. It'll be nice on Wednesday, highs at about 79 degrees. That will be a welcome sight for me and a lot of people, I'm for sure.
Great nighttime temperatures.
Yeah, no, I love getting up and taking the little man to school, and it's nice. Roll the windows down, and it's been warm for too long.
I was going to say great nighttime temperatures, perfect for what's that sport going on right now?
Football. Yeah, I'll be there.
All right, we'll see a little bit. Thank you so much, Jacob Leonard. Coming up, new enforcement going on in Florida.
There's a new battle brewing when it comes to vaccine mandates. I'm Mark Meredith in Washington. I'll have the details coming up.
Friday morning. Buy here, pay here. Frontenac, Kansas.
Joplin Health Department reports we've lost 3 more people to COVID-19. The patients were 2 men who were 72, also 22, and 1 woman who was 59. The latest deaths bring the city of Joplin's total to 168. Director of the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services answered questions about the state's pandemic response. Donald Kuroff touched on several topics, including vaccine booster shots. He says the state is trying to be ready should the boosters get federal approval.
A morning brief and a after action at 4 o'clock every day. We get together. What do we learn? Where we're at. But we're tracking with the boosters. We're making sure that we have a system in place. So once the word is given, that we'll be able to successfully roll out and distribute the vaccines.
Kuroff also says he feels the state's vaccine incentive program, MoVIP, was a success. Battle over vaccine mandates continues in some states. This coming as FDA advisors prepare to review data from possible Pfizer booster shots. Fox News correspondent Mark Meredith has more.
As President Biden pushes for new vaccine mandates in Florida, Republicans are doing all they can to stop them. Starting today, Florida businesses, schools, and government agencies face a potential $5,000 fine for requiring people prove they're vaccinated. Officials say the penalty applies for every single violation.
The governors of Florida and Texas are doing everything they can to undermine the life-saving requirements that I proposed. It's putting the lives of citizens of their states, especially children, at risk.
Nearly 180 million people in the U.S. are now fully vaccinated, but officials warn coronavirus is still spreading. Florida and Texas hospitals are seeing a drop-off in new cases after a recent surge, but health officials fear more infections are on the horizon, especially in northern states as cold weather and flu season sets in.
The flu season this year, I'll be honest, is something that has a lot of us in infectious disease a bit worried about.
Meantime, an FDA advisory committee will meet Friday to evaluate the safety of booster shots. But some question the need for boosters after the FDA released a report this week indicating current vaccines still work to prevent severe disease and death. Still, the government is moving ahead with plans to roll out boosters as early as next week.
Many FDA officials have signaled that they're okay with boosters for high-risk populations, the elderly, but not for the general public.
While the FDA's advisory committee could sign off on boosters by tomorrow, the CDC is not expected to review the data until next week. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
Nicki Minaj's hesitancy to get the vaccine has prompted a response from the White House. The rapper sent out a viral tweet saying she wouldn't get the vaccine in order to attend Monday's Met Gala in New York, citing medical issues friends of her family claimed to experience after taking it. In an effort to calm her fears as well as those of the public, the White House invited Minaj to a phone call with a doctor who would answer any of her questions. On Twitter, Minaj said she accepted an invitation to the White House. The United Nations Secretary General says he can't ask world leaders to show they've been vaccinated against COVID-19. The UN chief spoke after New York City officials said proof of vaccination should be required for anyone entering the UN General Assembly Hall. Dozens of heads of state and government and foreign ministers, along with numerous diplomats, are going to be traveling to New York City next week for the annual high-level gathering at the United Nations. The UN complex in Manhattan is international territory and is not subject to U.S. laws. Nonetheless, UN officials have pledged to abide by local and national guidance concerning COVID-19. Next, resettling thousands of Afghan refugees.
A team of former presidents and refugee groups launches to help Afghan evacuees settle into their new country. I'm Natalie Brand. What Afghan Americans say about the current and future needs.
September.
The Biden administration has started notifying governors and refugee coordinators about how many Afghan refugees, evacuees, are going to be resettled in individual states. This comes as a new group made up of former presidents, Afghan Americans, and advocates launched this week to help accelerate resettlement efforts so evacuees can assimilate to life in their new country. Reporter Natalie Brand talked to 2 Afghan Americans about this process and what's needed to help the tens of thousands now arriving into the U.S.
Cities big and small across the country continue to collect donations and prepare to welcome tens of thousands of Afghan evacuees forced to flee their home country, now faced with starting over in a new one.
Me and my husband, we were struggling to find an appropriate job because here our work experience was not counted.
Geeta Faramand Rahimi arrived to the U.S. in 2015 on a special immigrant visa, leaving Afghanistan under Taliban threat.
I was working with the U.S. government that put my life and life of my family in danger. It was a big and hard decision for me to leave Afghanistan, but I didn't have any other choice.
She now works with Refugee Services of Texas and was named to the council of the newly formed Welcome.US, aimed at connecting Americans who want to help with the groups working on the front lines.
Specifically at the bases, there is a need for cultural competency, people there that can speak the language and help them during this time.
Homaira Hosseini, who fled Afghanistan with her family in the 1990s, is now an attorney in the Bay Area and a board chair of the Afghan American Community Organization.
It's going to require commitment both from private and public sectors to ensure that Afghan refugees can successfully weave into the American fabric.
She says longer-term needs will be jobs and affordable housing. But advocates and Afghan Americans want new evacuees to know
we will help you navigate your ways here in U.S.
A growing support network is ready to put them on the right track.
CBS News has obtained government statistics that break down where the roughly 37,000 Afghan refugees who arrived in the first phase are going to be resettled. California is set to receive more than 5,000 refugees, the largest number of any state, followed by Texas with more than 4,400. More children may be soon eligible to receive a tax credit, including some undocumented children. Currently, only those with individual taxpayer identification numbers are counted. Democrats are also looking for full refundability when it comes to the credit, meaning families with no taxable income can receive money. This change could benefit around 27 million children who were previously exempt. Coming up, it's 2021, so apparently we need something new to get every last bit of ketchup out of those ketchup packets. More on this.
Town. Limited lifetime powertrain warranty. Your place to save.
SPACEX successfully launched the first all-tourist crew into orbit last night. The tech billionaire Jared Isaacman chartered the flight for an estimated $200 million, and he took 3 other private citizens on this 3-day mission. It's part joyride and part fundraiser for St. Jude Children's Hospitals. On board, Haley Arsenault is a childhood cancer survivor who works at the hospital. How about that? She's now the youngest American to ever go in space. Good for them. Heinz wants to make sure you enjoy your ketchup packets till the very last drop. The condiment company announced its latest venture, a Heinz packet roller. To use the roller, all you have to do is put the packet into one end, pull out the other, and as the packet slides through, every drop of ketchup will squeeze out. The handy device is shaped like a tiny bottle of ketchup even, and can be carried around on a keychain. Heinz's packet roller couldn't come at a better time, so the script says. After the recent ketchup package shortage, savoring packets of the condiment is key. Doesn't this make you mad, though? I mean, kinda. I mean, chances are there's something already out there similar to this that honestly works better than this, and to think that this particular thing is probably going to make a lot of money. Those are my 2 cents. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports going away. Going to learn about a $5,000 donation to a school in Joplin. Also going to hear about a new push in California to change how recall elections are initiated.
Come to the 75th annual.
Subaru of America made donations to several schools across the country, including one in Joplin. Subaru donated more than $5,000 to McKinley Elementary. McKinley is going to be able to use that money on school supplies for students. It's part of Subaru's Love Promise commitment to make learning more accessible. Fletcher Subaru in Joplin, whose staff pitched in, says they're happy to be part of it.
We have an amazing team, and the fact that we can be there to support local communities, local schools, and just be a part of this, our Joplin community is great.
Subaru partnered with adoptaclassroom.org to help make the donation. It's time for another Thursday event in Joplin. This time the event is sponsored by Missouri Southern. The university hosted some fun activities downtown. Of course, there was plenty of live music right there, food, bounce houses, and free COVID vaccine clinic.
I'm willing to bet most people haven't seen an Indonesian blue-tongued skink before, so they can meet one. Most people only have generally negative stories about snakes, and so they get to see one, maybe look at it without fear, understand it a little bit more. So the goal is to become a little bit closer with nature, realize that maybe what in our backyard should be there, and also there's some fun art for everybody to look at.
Next month's event will be the final third Thursday of the year. Americans open up their wallets in August in a big way. According to the Commerce Department, retail sales rose 0.7% last month. Economists were predicting a decline, by the way. Sales rose as more people shopped online, with demand spread across a wide variety of categories, from big-ticket items to smaller purchases. Holiday spending is expected to rise this year, according to a forecast from Deloitte. Spending is projected to increase 9% from 2020. Last year, consumers spent $1.2 trillion during the crucial shopping period between November and the end of the year. Americans held back somewhat in 2020 amid an economic climate weighed down by the pandemic. Looks like many Americans are going to be rocking around a very expensive Christmas tree this year. Yeah, you got that song stuck in your head now. Supply chain disruptions are forcing some retailers to raise the price of artificial trees by 20 to 25%. There's even warnings that trees could fly off the shelves because deliveries from overseas companies have been hit hard by congestion. According to the American Christmas Tree Association, the artificial tree business is a $1 to $2 million industry. California reportedly spent upwards of $200 million on that recall election against Governor Gavin Newsom. His win by an overwhelming majority on Tuesday now has many across the Golden State questioning why the effort even moved forward. Many state Democrats now calling for the process to go or undergo significant reform. Fox's Rob Roth has this story.
One day after Governor Gavin Newsom beat back efforts to recall him, two Bay Area Democratic lawmakers say it's time to fix what they say is a broken system.
The voters want to see a more democratic process put in place that keeps elected officials accountable, but prevents political gamesmanship of the rules.
Steve Glazier of Orinda chairs the California State Senate's Elections Committee. On Wednesday, he and Assemblyman Mark Berman of Menlo Park announced plans to hold hearings and craft a new recall process.
We absolutely do need recall reform. I think a majority of Californians are very frustrated that we just spent $276 million on this process, on this recall election. That, from the looks of it, has certified what voters said 3 years ago.
It will be up to voters to approve that process in the form of a future ballot measure. Any proposed changes have yet to be determined, but one question is whether mere disagreements over policy should be enough to trigger a recall.
A discussion about whether or not some criminal misconduct or malfeasance should be a kind of threshold issue is something that we're going to discuss.
Another concern is whether a recalled governor should be replaced by someone who gets less than 50% of the vote.
There are some who feel like it should be a runoff. There are some who feel make a very compelling argument that the lieutenant governor should simply step forward if a recall was successful and subject that acting governor to an election at a future date.
Newsom and former Governor Gray Davis are the only California governors to face recalls, but there have been 53 other attempts on governors since 1912, attempts that didn't get enough signatures in time to put them on the ballot. David McEwen, a political science professor at Sonoma State University, questions whether California voters would approve any changes.
Do you want to go with the devil you know, even though it might be ugly and difficult and problematic, or do you want to go into that great unknown? And that movement into the great unknown gives many voters pause.
A bit later, some crazy things and people getting recognition.
The Guinness Book of World Records 2022 edition is now out. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with a look at some of the talented title holders coming up.
Pay here, Frontenac, Kansas.
Well, we stayed nice and warm again today with most of us topping out near 90, but overall pretty clear and pretty nice day out there. Taking a look now at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort time lapse. You can see outside of a few clouds, pretty blue skies for most of the day. Current conditions right now in Joplin, we've made our way down through the 80s. Right now we're sitting at 79. Wind coming out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Humidity 58% humidity. Not really been bad all day. It's been pretty nice out there, despite being much warmer than what we saw yesterday. As you can see here, 24-hour temperature change, most of us between 5 and 10 degrees warmer than what we saw yesterday. Also, about 9 degrees higher today than we normally see on average on September 16th. Temperatures right now, most of us still warm, sitting in the upper 70s, 77 in Neosho, 78 in Carthage. A little cooler in southeast Kansas, 74 there in Iola, 78 right now in Fredonia. Skywatch Storm Tracker, the heart of our area, pretty clear, and that really has been the case for most of the day. The last 12 hours, you can see not a lot going on here today. Future track for you when you get up to go to school tomorrow. Most of us will start in the mid to upper 60s, 69 in Joplin, 67 in Nevada when school starts. Now through the rest of the day, end of tomorrow evening, 6:30, got this line of storms that may move in, and I know what you're thinking. We got high school football tonight, Leonard. What's going on? Don't worry. The good news is that most of this will break up as we work through game time. Now we may see some pop-up showers late tomorrow night that may stick around into Saturday morning, but nothing's going to be too bad. High school football is going to be fine. I'll be out there for the most part. We're going to stay dry. And then working through Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, it's going to be a warm one again, most of us topping out near 90. As for tomorrow morning, here's what you got when you're waking up and heading out the door. 68 at 7 a.m. Warm up pretty quickly, 85 by noon, and once again, we will top out near 90. Now the winds will switch in directions, but for the most part, it's going to be warm, and that really is the story for the next few days. We're 90s through the weekend, 92 on Monday, but we do have good news. We got some rain chances working in on Tuesday. Our high for Tuesday will be in the low 80s, and then look at Wednesday, the first day of fall, and you'll definitely be able to tell. We got highs in the 70s. I've been looking forward to that for a long time. I hope it sticks around because I'd love to be out wearing shorts and a jacket at high school football. I've been waiting for that for a long time. But cooler temperatures next week. Can't wait.
yeah, good weather tomorrow for what's going on in the evening.
Yeah, we got some good rivalry games tomorrow.
We
got
do,
Lamar, Nevada, Carthage, Webb, Girard, Columbus, Yates Center, St. Paul. We'll be out of that one too.
Yeah, it does look good. All right, we'll look forward to that. Jake Leonard, thank you so much. Coming up in sports, Frontenac and Colgan hitting the field for a Thursday night CNC matchup. Also, Pitt State volleyball team taking a 5-game winning streak in a conference play. Danny Terzer has that and more next.
Young Shady.
The Frontenac Raiders and Colgan Panthers square off tonight in a big early season CNC matchup. The Panthers welcome the Raiders into Pittsburgh, aiming for their first win of the season. Colgan is 0-2 through the first 2 weeks, while Frontenac is 1-1 on the year. Raiders lead 12-0 after the first quarter, then Aiden Fleming. His pass is picked off by Justice Compton. Compton takes it all the way to the 1-yard line, and Colin McCartney gets the final yard, his second rushing touchdown of the game. Panthers respond here. Fleming connects with Tucker Harrell in the corner. That's Colgan's first points of the game. The ensuing kickoff is returned for a touchdown, and the Raiders not slowing down. McCartney to Compton. He gets to the outside. Look at this. Plows through this guy, stays on his feet. Compton gets into the end zone to put Frontenac up 32-6 at half. The Raiders go on to get the win 46-12. The Pittsburgh State Gorillas are on the road in Week 3 this weekend, facing the Northeastern State Riverhawks. The Gorillas are 1-1 through 2 games after dropping their home opener last Saturday to Nebraska Kearney. In that game, Pitt State jumped out to a 17-7 halftime lead. However, Kearney outscored them 21-0 in the second half, going on to win 28-17. It was a disappointing ending for the Gorillas, but the team says they have put it behind them and are excited for another opportunity this Saturday.
We can't let that game affect us into the rest of the year. I think the best thing about it is that we have many opportunities in front of us. And this week, Saturday being one of them. We had a great week of practice, I feel like, and just taking one day at a time right now. That's the most important thing for all of us, I think.
The Pittsburgh State volleyball team is off to a hot start this season. The Gorillas are 6-2 in their first 8 matches and have won 5 in a row. All 8 of those have been non-conference games for PSU. Tomorrow, the really important ones begin, with Pitt State facing Central Oklahoma in their MIAA League opener. The Gorillas are excited to begin conference play and motivated to prove themselves after being picked 8th in the league's preseason poll.
I think we're really ready to show teams what we've been working on and how much we've improved from sort of the off year that was last year. And so we're just really excited to show everybody in the conference what we can do. We had some tough competition this past weekend, and we really had a battle Friday night. And I think in past years that's a game that we might not have come out on top. And so seeing that we could fight like that as a team and play that well and come back from sets that we weren't playing well and then finish really strong and win it in a 5-set match that early in the season is really nice to see and gave all of us a lot of confidence that we can do a lot this season.
The Kansas City Royals finish up a 3-game series this afternoon with the Oakland A's. The Royals are aiming to take the series after the 2 teams split the first 2 games. Kansas City has won 4 of 6 coming into the day. Salvador Perez in the first inning goes deep to left center, number 45 on the season for Perez. That ties him with Johnny Bench for most homers in a single season for a catcher. Oakland comes alive in the third. 2-run score on the single here. And then in the 9th, Josh Harrison rips a double into the gap to add to the lead. The A's go on to beat Kansas City today 7-2. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Not every record in the Guinness Book of World Records might make sense, but they're sure impressive. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer has a look at some of the extraordinary people and animals snatching some pretty amazing titles.
The Guinness Book of World Records is now revealing its lineup of 2022 record holders, proving just how fun, diverse, and unique the world truly is. From the most back somersault burpees to the tallest non-competitive bodybuilder, no title is off limits or too crazy. Come on! Zion Clark's speed landed him a coveted spot in the book. Clark, who wasn't born with legs, nabbed the title for fastest 20-meter walk on his hands. And for him, it's a dream come true.
To be a Guinness World Record title holder, to me that means that, one, I'm an elite, I'm one of the top dogs, but at the same time it also means that my family's winning, my town's winning, and my support group's winning, because without them, I wouldn't be here doing this for you guys.
Letitia Kai, on the other hand, uses her long locks as a jump rope, helping her become the record holder for most skips over a person's own hair in 30 seconds. But humans aren't the only ones stealing the show.
My name is Paige. My dog Lou has the world record for the world's longest ears.
At more than 13 inches, Lou the puppy has the world's longest ears, while Lollipop and Sashimi are showing off their athletic skills, taking the record for fastest 5 meters on a scooter by a dog and cat. This is just a small preview of the more than 40,000 records on file in this latest publication. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Good for them. All right, next, going to preview a unique show called Fox's Alter Ego. Fox is introducing a first-of-its-kind singing competition, a digital next step, so to say, in these musical shows. And as Fox's Ashley Dvorka was on set with the judges of Alter Ego to bring you a preview.
The future is now on Fox's Alter Ego, where contestants follow musical dreams by performing as their choice avatars.
Some people really just want to embody the alter ego, throw out who they are, and embody this whole other futuristic character.
Yeah. What? The artists that we love are more than just singers.
Yeah.
They're personas, amplified, from Michael Jackson to Stevie Wonder to, Prince,
Tina Turner,
to Cher, to Tina Turner, to Rihanna, Beyonce. They are ultra to Grimes. They're ultra to Alanis Morissette. They're ultra.
It never stops.
I'm right here.
I'm
right here. He is an ultra personality.
That was crazy.
The more personality you're having, just the better it works. Like the ones that are trying to be too manicured are less good than the ones who are like maybe even acting like kind of like strange.
Nick, how can you relate with your Masked Singer experience to both the challenges and the appeal of performing incognito?
Well, it's definitely liberating in a way to take on an alter ego. Like for me, it was Piglet, and I definitely approached performing from a different angle than I would as Nick Lachey or as part of 90 Degrees.
And this series could be just the start of something even bigger.
People are used to filters and face technology on social media. But nobody has a whole entire body where they can totally, transform their presence. I think that's going to transform movie making, reality shows. It changed entertainment, this show.
Alter Ego premieres September 22nd after the return of The Masked Singer on Fox. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a whale sculpture in Kyiv, Ukraine. Pretty impressive. Hey, be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.